The Curse of Blackwood. Blackwood was a town shrouded in mystery, a place where the past clung to the present like an unshakable shadow. Surrounded by dense forest on all sides, it remained cut off from the world, its people wary of outsiders and even warier of what lurked in the darkness beyond their quiet streets. For decades, rumors of a sinister force haunted the town. Children were warned never to wander into the woods after dusk. Stories of disappearances, whispered through generations, only added to the town's chilling reputation. No one dared to question the legends, not until Amelia ventured into the Blackwood Forest on that fateful evening. The temptation of treasure. Amelia had always been a curious soul. Unlike the others in Blackwood, she refused to live in fear. She scoffed at the old legends, believing them to be mere stories meant to frighten children. But when she overheard an elderly woman in the marketplace speak of a hidden treasure buried deep within the Blackwood Forest, her skepticism turned to intrigue. "The treasure belongs to the lost," the old woman had muttered under her breath. To those who vanished in the dark. Most would have taken that as a warning. Amelia, however, took it as a challenge. That night, beneath the suffocating darkness of a moonless sky, she set out with only a lantern and a determination that bordered on foolishness. The trees stood like sentinels, their gnarled branches twisting together overhead, blocking out what little light the stars provided. Each step she took was accompanied by the crunch of dead leaves, a sound that seemed deafening in the eerie silence of the forest. Then, the whispering began. The presence in the dark. At first, it was nothing more than the rustling of leaves, but as Amelia ventured deeper, the sound took on a distinct, almost human quality. Faint, murmuring voices wove through the trees, speaking in a language she did not understand. She paused, her heartbeat quickening. Just the wind, she told herself. But the wind did not chuckle. The wind did not breathe. A chill slithered down her spine as she pressed on. She had come too far to turn back now. She focused on the thought of gold, of riches buried beneath the roots of the cursed forest. The promise of treasure kept her moving, until the lantern flickered. And then, the light went out. Darkness swallowed her whole. Amelia fumbled with the lantern, shaking it in frustration. But before she could ignite another spark, a shadow detached itself from the surrounding blackness. A figure. Cloaked in darkness. Motionless. Watching. A hand shot out, grasping her wrist with an unnatural grip. Ice-cold fingers dug into her skin as she tried to scream, but her voice was swallowed by the silence. The last thing she saw was a pair of hollow, glowing eyes. Then everything faded to black. The terror that followed. When Amelia failed to return by morning, the town awoke to dread. Another disappearance. Another life claimed by the Blackwood Forest. The townsfolk gathered in hushed whispers, their faces pale and eyes filled with terror. They knew the pattern. She would not be found. No one ever was? Yet, that night, something changed. A low, guttural sound echoed through the streets of Blackwood. It was neither animal nor human, but something in between, a twisted, agonized wail that sent every soul in the town into hiding. Candles were extinguished, doors bolted shut, and prayers whispered through trembling lips. Then came the knocking. Slow. Rhythmic. A single, deliberate knock on each door as it passed down the streets. Some swore they heard Amelia's voice, faint and distorted, begging for help. But no one opened their doors. By dawn, the town square bore a dreadful sight. A message had been carved into the cobblestones, the words deep and jagged as if scratched by clawed fingers. She is ours now. The town of Blackwood knew then that their whispered fears had been true all along. The forest was alive, and it had taken Amelia as its own. The curse lives on. Years passed, but the town never forgot. The disappearances continued, though no one was foolish enough to seek treasure again. Those who entered the Blackwood Forest never returned. Some nights, when the wind was just right, The people of Blackwood claimed they could still hear Amelia's voice, calling from the trees, her whispers woven into the rustling leaves, begging to be saved. But no one dared to answer, because the forest always took more than it gave.